The stream will start in just a moment here. Just making sure I'm streaming okay. All right, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and start the stream here. So hopefully you can see me, and hopefully you'll see more than me this time. So let me explain what happened in the last stream here. So in the last stream, I had every intention on showing everyone what I was doing. First off, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. If you're watching live, if not, it is what it is. Hopefully you can like, share, subscribe. I've got a nice music playlist down below. Check out Code Black Tech over on Facebook. Dropping a like for them. Join the Slack community that they have over there as well. We'd be eager to see you. So, what am I doing right now? Well, right now I am trying to download Visual Studio on my computer here, and for some odd reason it's pausing on me here. Actually, let me just close Visual Studio down. That might help. So let's see, continue. There we go. So here's what happened. I had every intention on showing you all how I create some code here. And I'm actually right now, let me pause this actually. I'm actually right now trying to update my Visual Studio. So I might have to pause the stream to let this continue. I thought it was going to be done, but apparently there was a dialog box in the back that I didn't see when I was getting everything set up. But again, I had every intention on allowing everybody to see what I was doing and how I was coding. I have two different computers in my house here that I do stuff off of. Well, three actually. There's a joint computer that the kiddos use. There's the one in my wife and I's room, and then there's the one I'm on now, which is in my office. The one in my office is the best computer in the house. It's got two monitors, plenty of room to work, all that good stuff. And what happened was I was on the computer upstairs in the room because I wanted to chill and just code. Well, when you go head down and you go head down on your code, you lose sight of some of the finite details of things. So one of the things that I missed out on was, because I was using one screen, that I had the stream set up to only view me. So it was a video of me for an hour and a half just coding. And when I say me, I mean me. Blue light, everything. It was really chill, actually. And so I got all that stuff done in that hour and a half. So I went ahead and deleted that video. I did get a dislike on the video, which prompted me to say, what's wrong with the video? And then when I looked, I was like, oh my gosh, I never switched over to my screen so you could see what I'm doing. So we'll do one of those at a later time and try that again. It was very relaxing. I tried to set it up to where if you wanted to either chat me or whatever, that you could see or ask questions of what I was doing. But I went ahead and got that done and got it pushed up into my Git repository. And that's this particular bit of code here. Let me go ahead and switch my screen this time and make sure that I'm doing this the right way. So now that I can see both screens, I can see that I've actually switched. So we're good there. Okay, so what we did, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so everybody can see here. There we go. What we worked on here was this Hello World console application here. And what I did, I basically did all of the logic on it and kind of got it working and was able to get, responses back in the from the Dapper service and stuff like that. So what I need to do now, since I'm on a different computer, is I need to change the connection string or add a different connection string into the configuration page, into the app settings.json page. So to do that, let's try to log into our Visual Studio here and see what happens. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try to pull down this repo from Git. Let me go ahead and also start my Git bash. I'm going to try it this way. Okay, and so if you can see my screen there, I've got my Git bash going here, and then the Visual Studio just popped up. I'll download that at another time when I'm not on the stream. Okay, so let's get logged into, and I'm getting an error message on my YouTube stream here for some odd reason. I don't know why. Stream seems to be working. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so we're going to use our Git bash, and we're going to try to use our command line or Git bash settings here. So let's do a pwd, because remember, Git bash is utilized in it's Linux. You're going to use Linux commands for command line, which is why I'm trying to use it. I'm not a big Linux fan. I'm trying to get myself back to using a lot more Linux stuff. So I'm going to change to a different directory. Do an LSL. Yep, I'm on the right folder here. All right. Make that a little smaller here. Okay, so I see all of my directories here, and then I see a C# fundamentals right there. Why is that acting up on me here? It's weird. So let's go over to, we're in C# fundamentals. And what I need to do is I need to do a pull from my online repo and that I've merged my changes up to, my master, into this repo here. So I'm gonna go cd space C# and hit the tab, and it auto finishes for me. And then ls that cd into C#, ls that. Okay, so here's all my projects here that I have in here. Now let's do a git pull and see what happens. So it says that your configuration that's because I'm in a different branch. So I need to git checkout master. All right. Clear. Now let's do a git pull. And that should grab everything that we need. And it did. It's a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of stuff on here. So you can see all of the stuff that I've pulled in here since I've been working on it. Here's our Hello World stuff here. And so on and so forth. Okay, so now I should be able to do this. Now if I go back over to my Visual Studio, what I should be able to do, I'm getting errors on my stream health here. It's weird. Is go into my Git repository here. So I'll just go to open file or folder or project solution, I should say. And then I'll go into my class library, which is on a different drive. So it's on my B drive here. Go into my repo here, which is this one right here. And here's our Hello World code. And here's our solution here. And it should just bring down everything that is in this particular solution that I was working on the other day. Excuse me. All right, so here's the solution that I've been working on here. And one thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to change my display settings so you can see everything on my PC a little bit better here. 150. if that made much of a difference. Whoa, that made it really big. Let's kick it down to 125. There we go. Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay. That's much better. Okay. So now what we're going to do, you can see I have some test cases over here that I created. I also have let me switch this over here. Still doing a little bit of what is going on with my stream? What do I have downloading here? I'm just gonna keep going on here. I'm not sure what's going on here. I got something downloaded, I think. I have Steam going or something. What's this? Got something running in the background here that's just really taking. It's just sapping out my bandwidth here. I don't know what's up. Anyway, so what I did was I created a couple of test cases over here. So let's just walk through the code that you all didn't get a chance to see. And then we'll start with the main class here. Let me minimize this here. Okay, so here's what I did. The first thing that I did was I created a couple of different methods on here called initialize, which goes out and it touches a different class that reaches out to my SQL Server. Okay, so I established connection with the SQL Server. Well, I get all of the credentials for my SQL Server, I should say, and get those all ready to go. And I create a new instance of my data class, my data access objects class, and that's over here. So I created this, and what I basically did here was all of the interaction with my SQL Server outside of my program is going to be done in this class. I'm not doing any of that interaction on my main class. So what I do is I created methods and an interface to go over to that class, you know, get the connection string, bring it back, get the, you know, establish the connection with the SQL Server, close the connection with the SQL Server when I need it. And so that's basically what I'm doing here. Okay. So now I do the initialize right up the front. The next thing that I do is I do the I do my parts info. What parts info does is it actually is calling a function or a method that is going to return a IEnumerable object or list of this query model that I have over here. And what this query model is over here in my models folder is it's basically the return of the SQL statement that I created. Okay. And so if you look at my SQL statement, which is over here in my DAO, you can see my SQL statement here, and it's basically just a select statement with the Chinook database that I thought I had given this some instance on. So real quick, because this test won't run on this computer unless I have that database on this computer, I need to go over to my OneDrive account where I have my nope, that's the wrong one. I need to go to my OneDrive account that has my SQL in it, and I'm going to open this with SSMS, or SQL Server Management Studio, And while that's opening, why is my stream acting up here? Strange. Got something going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my SQL Server Management Studio here on this particular server. Yep, connect. And I'll bring that over here. Actually, I'll just make it bigger. Boom, like that. And what you're seeing here is some SQL off of the Chinook database that I grabbed. The Chinook database, I'll go over here and I'll just show you where it is. This is one of the links I thought I was sharing with you. This is where the Chinook database is located on the GitHub account. And so what you can do is go over to this database on GitHub. And what you can do is you can scroll down. It tells you a little bit about the database. You just go to the downloads folder here. It says, how do I download and create? So what you do is you click there, and all of your different database scripts are out here. If you use DB2, FEPROS, MySQL, Oracle, Postgres, SQL Server Compact, they're all out here. So what you want to do is you want to go to the one that you need, click it, and then click download. And then what'll happen is it'll pop up a file here in the raw form, and you can just right click on it and do a save as, and then that will save that file for you. I'm not going to do it because I already have it. So that's where you get that from. So what I need to do on my server is just run this script to create this database. That's number one. So I'm going to hit execute. I'm going to let this script run and just let her go. I'm just very annoyed that my stream is acting up here, but we'll keep pressing on. Okay, so our query executed successfully. And the next thing that I had, that I have a list of here, is some queries here. Because what I did, because I'm trying to get better at SQL myself, is I went over and I Googled Chinook assignment, Chinook database assignment. This is what I did. And if you go over to, I think, is it here? No, not there. It's different. I think it's, is it this one here? Yeah, it was that one, but it wasn't that site. I have the sites. I have the site saved somewhere. Is it this one here? Maybe it's this one here. No, it's not that one because I don't speak Spanish. Well, there's a assignment sheet with 5 assignments on there, right? And what I did was I decided to go ahead and try to do those assignments. And so it's not Course Hero. Yeah, it's not that one. I forget where it is. But anyway, what I did was I went ahead and grabbed a copy of the database, and I did these, problems here. There's 5 of them, I think. And so I'm going to grab to test our database to see if we have some script here that works. Say new query. Paste that in there. F5. And yep, I'm getting stuff back right now, like I should be. Okay. So the next thing I need to do to be able to connect my solution here to this database over here is I need to establish a connection with Visual Studio. The easiest way to do this is to find out what the connection, to find out the connection string is just establish a connection with Visual Studio. And what we're going to do is we're going to store that connection string in this particular app settings.json connection. And I'm going to store it as a different setting. So what this JSON file does, to explain, is it stores all of the connectivity settings for my SQL database so that I don't have to hard code them into my application. And so in the JSON, in the app settings.json file, I can just add the connections there, and they're all stored in the same area. It's kind of like using an app config file in a .NET ASP app or something like that, or not ASP app, but a web API app, okay, or the web config file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, over here in this JSON, I'm going to create another connection. And this dummy connection is for my test, my test over there. So let's establish a connection with SQL Server. So I'll go to my Server Explorer. Don't need that. And I'll just come down here, and I should be able to just refresh this connection. And that establishes to my file mover one that I had. So I'll just right click, say add connection. I'm connecting on this data connections. And I know the name of my server. Okay. I'm using Windows authentication. I'm going to click down here where it says enter a database name. There's my Chinook at the top. So already I know I've got a connection because it sees the database is there. Then what I'm going to do is say test connection. Everything pops up just fine. Say okay. Say okay here. And so now over here on the right hand side of Visual Studio, hopefully you can see it and my head's not in the way. Over there is our connection string right here. It's this highlighted area right here. So that's what I want to grab. So I'm just gonna, that scroll bar was acting up. So I'm just gonna copy this, and I'm gonna paste it here. I've got a connection string there, and in here, I'm going to call this default secondary connection. Okay, save that. Now, what I can do is I can, you know what? I just had a thought to make this a lot easier. So now I'm done with this particular one right here. So we're using secondary connection. We can use the, I don't think my CodeLens is working here. I need to check my CodeLens. The highlighting is off there. Let's see, CodeLens. Yep, I don't have CodeLens on this one, do I? Yeah, CodeLens. CodeLens. Oh, that's installed. I need CodeLens over here. CodeLens. What CodeLens is, CodeLens. What CodeLens is it's an extension that allows you to do a look ahead on some of your code and stuff like that. So it's very handy to use here. Is that the right one? If that's the right one or not. Yeah, I'll use that one. Okay, close this. Let me save my work here. This is how you install an extension in your Visual Studio. And then there's these package manager here. The package manager. This is how you do stuff for your solutions over here. So let me go ahead and close this, and a box will pop up here momentarily that it's installing on my Visual Studio. And I'll just say yep when it's done here. Let's say modify. That must mean I don't have CodeLens installed on here. Well, let's just do a quick Google search here for CodeLens here, because it's very handy, and after you have it, you just can't live without it. CodeLens Visual Studio. There we go. Usually they have some kind of a GetLens. Is it GetLens? Not GetLens. It's CodeLens. That's Visual Studio Code, Alex. Visual Studio. There we go. 2019. Is that the same one? Nope, that's it right there. Okay. Okay, come on. Okay. Visual Studio CodeLens. There we go. So let me see if I have it installed. So what I need to do is go to reopen my Visual Studio. I could have sworn I had this on this machine down here. So let's open up our options. Come on, tools, options. Go to CodeLens. Let's see if it's in there. Come on, buddy. Of course it froze up on me here. There we go. Yep. Let's enable CodeLens and say okay. Now let's reopen our solution, or go back to recent solutions here, right there. Let's do it that way. And so the whole point of the exercise that I was attempting to do the other night was show just kind of a very somewhat organized way of linking up your data layer to your application layer. But I failed miserably because I didn't press the button. So let's see if my CodeLens is even working here. It's weird. Maybe it'll take a minute or two to do what it's got to do. Okay, so in any case, then what I was doing here, so I've got this parse info that goes over, grabs the SQL for my out of my DAO, and then what it does is it does the, and this is where we're using the Dapper. So this particular SQL here, we can actually use this SQL. So if I come over here to this, only thing I can't use is this low range and high range, but I guess I can, because what I can do is come up here. Let me shrink this down just a smidge here in the editor here. There we go. I just declare those ranges down there. So these ranges are numeric values. So let me just copy these two here. And I'll come up here and say declare low range, declare high range as a numeric. It's 10, 2. And I'll do the same thing here. Set at low range to $10, because what this is, so what this is it's a query that is one of the assignments for the Chinook database, that it wants a report basically where there's an order that's above $25, and it wants you to find all of the different invoice IDs that consist of that entire $25. So I'll do this $25. I'll say $30 because this will give us what we want back. And when I click execute here, we get back the 14 rows that we were expecting here. So basically what I did is I took this query and I moved that query into my my .NET solution. And I can come over here and I can basically run this query. So I'll just run it from scratch here. And I'll just build it real quick too. And then once it's done building, then we'll run it. Okay, it's done building. So I'll just run this and let's see what happens here. Because I've got a thought of how to switch the connection string dynamically using the command line settings. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing an instantiation of an instance of my data access objects. So now that I've got this DAO object over here, you can see I have no connection string, there's no configuration, and there's the disposed value that is false, which I probably should hide. So now that I have a DAO that's basically has no values in it, now I'm gonna go over here in this method, and let's hit F11 to step into the method, and I'm gonna fill out the information that I need to establish communication with the database when I call for it on demand. So I'm gonna hit F10, F10 again, and this initialize DAO method, what it does, if I hit F11, is I come over here using the configuration builder namespace, a class that I brought in using my NuGet package handler, and come over here and establish and get the configuration page for my JSON. So now here you see my three different, I'm pointing at the screen, let's see if y'all can see that. Now here you can see my three different config strings, my connection strings, right? I've got my test connection string. I've got my my upstairs connection string, or this secondary one, the number 2, or the third instance, excuse me, is my is the connection string to the computer that I'm on now, and then the one above is the one computer upstairs in my house. So in the grand scheme of things, the way you would control this is, I mean, there's different ways to control it. You want this to be encrypted, but for this exercise, I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. And we can probably talk about encryption in another topic here. So I'm going to hit F10. And then what I do is I have a connection string manager over here, basically another method that looks for the connection string. Now, if the connection string is already set, then I don't overwrite the connection string. Okay. If it's not set, then what I do is I go ahead and grab a copy of it that I need to. And over here, you can see I've got this default connection in here. So that's part of the code that we can probably change based on what we get back. So now I hit F10. I've got a connection string established, and that's the wrong one. And that's one of the things that we're going to change here. Because if I try to, and I'll just do it. So I've got a valid connection string, but the problem is that it's not to the right database and server. So if I click F10, F10, F11, because this is where we're establishing the connection, I'm going to get an error here because it can't find that particular SQL server. I'd be surprised if it did, because so what it's doing right now, it's going to try a connection and it's going to time out and it's going to throw an error there. And there's our exception. And if I hit F10 a couple of times, and it says I could not find that SQL server. So in the background, it tried to establish a connection with the SQL server and it failed because it couldn't find that computer. Now, if we were on a network, or if I networked that computer and I set everything up, I should still be able to get access to that, but I've not done that here at my house. So we're going to hit F10 because we're handling the exception. We're going to get an exception here that we did not handle. So it says value cannot be null. So that's number 2. So the first thing we need to do is we need to change logic that will go out and look at the connection string dynamically based on a command line setting that we set. The second thing is we need to do some exception handling here so that we don't throw exceptions here because it's a little sloppy. But it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, so forgive me. So I'm gonna hit stop here because our program is stopped here. So now let's do this. First things first, let's handle the exception handling first. And I'm gonna say try. Put this in the try catch. Come down here, scroll out just a smidge, try, paste that catch down there, hit Control K, Control D, and that auto formats the code for you if you're particular about that kind of stuff, which I am. So in our exception down here, what we're going to do is we're going to, instead of throwing an exception here, we're going to log something to our console. We're going to log the exception to the console and say there was an exception during parse info, and then I'll just say plus and e.message gives me the exception string. Now what I could do is I could grab the stack trace, which will give me, you know, lines and stuff like that. Let's do that instead. That'll give me like all the lines that I need. And then I can just return a rec count here. And up here, what's going to happen is our row count is going to be 0. And it's, instead of erroring out, it will now handle the exception. So if I hit F5 here, and instead of doing a break statement there, I'll come down here and break on that. And then I hit F10, I get thrown down into the exception here because, at least I should, because that can't be null. So I'm going to actually log 2 different exceptions there. Or I should. So there's my second exception. And then I hit F10. And if I go over to the actual program, it shows the stack trace of what I got going on here. So this is the first stack trace that says I couldn't open a connection. And then this is the second stack trace, which is a result of the first stack trace. So now what I can do is I can go back and actually, I'm not stack tracing that one, that's just the message. So what I can do is I can go back in this line of code and see and kind of trace back to see what the heck is going on here, right? So now if I hit F10, I continue on. I see that I have no rows written here. Oh, because I have to hit enter there. So I have no rows written, number of rows written. F10, F10, and that's the end of my program. So what I need to do is I need to handle that exception here, which I've done. The second thing I need to do is I need to determine a way to pass in the right to get the right connection string in my initialize DAO here. So how do we do that? Well, we've got this nifty little thing up here where we can pass in command line settings or command line arguments here. The default signature for the main is this. And we took that out of it because we weren't using it. So what I'm going to do now, because if you leave that in there, you get a warning that says, hey, you don't, or a message that says, hey, you're not using this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use this in my initialize DAO here, okay? So in this initialize right here, I'm gonna put comma args. Come down here to initialize, comma string args, okay? And then on my initialize DAO here, I'll pass in my args here, like this. Then I need to come over here to my data access objects in my initialize DAO and change the signature of this initialize DAO to accept a string array of args. And then I need to do the same thing up above here in the interface, like that. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is we need to now take that argument and basically parse it out. How do you pass a command line argument? Well, on the command line of the actual exe, you can put a dash or a delimiter and just put it out there. You can set up your delimiters a certain way. In most programs, they're like dashes or slashes, forward slashes. So in our project, to test this, we need to come to project and hit hello world properties. Go down to debug. And in this is where we set our command line arguments. So I'm going to put a command line argument in here and put in string A, something like this. Okay. And I'll put it more, just a little bit more descriptive. Con string A. We'll just say A for right now. Save that. Come back here in dummy class. I'm going to put a breakpoint there. And when I run this, I should see an element of the array in there. And it should just say constring A. Okay. Now, what I can do is I can split out that connection string variable there, and I can do that over in my data access objects here, or I mean that's a little different. I can do that here too under initialize. Let's just do it over here. It's probably easier. instead of, so we'll have to change this from a string array to just a regular string, like this. Save that and come back over to dummy class. And then in here, I'm going to do a var con string or var con selection, something like that, equals args dot split args 0 dot split, and I'm going to split on my colon to list, and actually instead of doing the to list, I'm going to say where no, I don't want to do a where on that one. Okay. And then because of the way that the command line setting is set up, I'm going to say let's do it that way. Split that, and then I'll say con selection 2, and say that's what I want to use there. Actually, that's 1, not a 2, because it's 0 base index. Let's breakpoint on that. Take this breakpoint off. F5. So now if I look here, I've got the 1 connection string there, indicator, hit F10. That gives me a list of 2 there. And then I'm going to grab that, and now I should have an A in there, okay? So now I can come down here to this con string, and I'll pass in a string there, arg, instead of args, it's just one arg. And then in here, I'll pass in the string, let's call it arg there. Okay, now, I'm gonna have to change this up just slightly here. So the way I've got this, have it in a null coalesce type here. I need to make a switch statement in there on this particular one here. I wonder if I can even do that. Switch. Now, yeah, see if I can do that. Case is A. Let's see if this works here. I don't even know if this is going to work, but break. Case, I'll say B. Break. And then default will be the dummy connection. Oops, if I put those in there, Alex. Okay. All right. Take this out of here and let's see if this works. That's even gonna work. I don't think that's gonna work. We're gonna use a switch statement anyway, though. There we go. So now, let's reopen our app settings again and get our connection string names. This one here, default connection. It's going to be well, we're on the second, so A is going to be, instead of it being A, let's make it a D. D will be for default, S for be secondary, and anything else will use the dummy connection there. That doesn't, it's not valid. So connection string, default connection is this one. We need secondary connection for this one. And then dummy connection for that one. Okay, another try catch block here, because we want to handle any exceptions that may arise. Okay, we still want to do this though. If that connection string is that, up here we'll use that string. Equals. Alrighty. And then down here, what we'll do is say if it's null M3, then go out and get the connection string. I don't think we need to do that anymore. Yeah. The way I have this set up, I don't need to do that anymore. Okay, so get this out of there. All right, I don't need to do this anymore here. E. No. Oh, false. And then return true here. Don't need to do this anymore. And come over here and say, leave that stack trace alone like that. Okay, and then, so now, anything that comes through this code is going to look for that connection string. So if it's a D, it'll use the default upstairs at my house. If it's an S, it'll use the computer that I'm using right now. And that's granted that in both cases that the database exists on both computers, because it has to. And then the third one I'll use is this dummy connection. Okay, so that's if it's on another computer, the connection string won't work. So let's test this query out here. So let's test this code out. Let's rebuild this. We should get this right here as a connection string. And we have a failure in our rebuild here. Why do we have a failure in our rebuild here? So let's go to our error list. That's because in our test case, our signature of our code changed there as well. So I need to pass in string args. Actually, it's just one string. That. Okay. And that should be fine the way it is right there, because this is our mock scenario here. It's our test case there that we're just gonna set the connection string to the dummy one anyway. All right, so we're all good there. So let's rebuild it again. and we have another fail. And that's because we have to now pass in a string here, mock, and our initialize has not mock, let's say, yeah, mock, because it doesn't matter, mock there, and that should be a string arg. So now I got the string arg, mock arg equals new string, and it's gonna be something like this, string mock, and then I come up here and I say mock arg. Now I rebuilt this. Yeah, that's fine. Telecode. Yeah, that's fine. Alrighty. And that warning is because I've got this app settings.json. I'll just close that warning, it'll go away. And it says use a switch expression here. Where's this at? Show potential fixes. Oh, yeah. I'll fix that. It should be the only place that it's doing that at. Cancel. Let's go back. Show potential fix. Okay, there we go. I'm basically doing the same thing there. So now, if I rebuild this, yes, Tabify. That's annoying. Okay, so now let's go ahead and rerun this and see what happens this time. This time, I should be okay. So I'm hit F10, F11, go down. There's my arg. Gets my dummy connection. There's my switch statement there because I used an A because my arg should be an A. Yep. And then if I hit F10, I'm still gonna error out because there's no, no DAO with that. So let me change that to an S in my connection string. A to an S. Save that, close that, rerun this, and rebuild it. And F10, F11. There's our secondary connection. So we've got our connection string here. And now we're going to do our parsing. Hit F11, 10, F10. So this should be the connection string that is in our SQL server down here. And that is correct. So hit F10, F10. I should open the connection to the SQL server. And it is there. And then hit F10 again. F10 again, and it's going over and retrieving rows of data. I've got 868 rows in my return there. F10, I'm doing some sorting here to put everything in the right, make sure everything's in the right order. Yep. F10 again. Now I'm building out I'm building out what's going to appear on my screen over here. So I've made it a comma delimited, and I'm just going to hit F5 and get down to that line. So now I can take everything over here, copy it, put it into an Excel spreadsheet. Now I can just open up Excel and put it into a spreadsheet anyway, which maybe we should just do that. Open this, paste that over there, say text to columns, it's delimited by commas, and say next. Now I've noticed something here, there's a little bit of a space there, and I'm not sure where that's coming from. Oh, it's because it's coming from right there. So let's hit cancel. Let's close our program and let's get rid of the spaces there. There shouldn't be spaces there. It's just a habit that I have there. Okay, now let's rerun this. Get rid of this breakpoint up here. 5. It's gonna go through, boom, flies through. Copy all of that. Paste that. Well, look at there, it already did it for me. Double click on all of these and it should give me my list. And what it was is the assignment called for this report to be sorted by the title of the album right here, then by the artist, which is over here, then by the track. So here's like an album title, all, you know, we've got disc 1, and then there's disc 2, same person or same group, but you can see they're all A's first, B's, there's an S, there's a T, and then when it gets down to the second one here, it starts over in the right order there. Okay, don't save that. And so if I hit F5 here, or F10, 10, that'll tell me the number of rows written in my report right there. And then it's done. And that's basically what I did the other day, before I found out that, you know, I hadn't recorded a thing of me doing any code. So now let's go ahead and let's see, the stream started at 10:50. Okay, yeah. All right, let me check something here real quick. Okay, now let's do a little bit more tweaking to this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that console right line off of there, because what I need to do is I just had a thought. I think I'm just going to put this in an Excel spreadsheet, or try to at least. So let's Google how to put what we've got here into an Excel spreadsheet. Now I know that the interop, I think the interop class will come into play. So let's do some looking. Let's see, not Google, or let's see, C# Excel interop. Okay. How to access Office interop objects. And so this actually came out a few years ago, where you can take Visual Studio and you can create that connectivity between the two. So we see that we need a couple of using statements here, and we're going to need some namespaces here. So let's see if we can go and find those namespaces here. I don't even know if I wonder if you have to have a license to do that. Let's go look here. Let's see. Because I'm on .NET Core. So let's go over to our NuGet package manager and see if there's a NuGet package for this. Let's see. What are those called? Microsoft Office. Yep, there's one there. We're gonna do this one. That's 2013 though. And let's install it onto both here. And when you install a an assembly like this, okay, so it says okay, it looks like it's not able to use .NET Core, so let's just uninstall. That's kind of a pain in the rear. Kind of figured that would be the case. Uninstall these. Okay, not a problem. Let's just rebuild it. Make sure we got rid of all of the stuff there. Looks like we've got some updates here as well to some packages that we're using. Yep, that's fine. Update those. Hopefully we don't break anything. Say okay. I accept. There we go. Okay, so those are up to date. Let's go back and see if there's a different way for us to do this here. This is an article from 2020, January 2020. That's automating Excel. .NET Pearls is another one that has some really good examples in there as well. But since we're using this more updated core .NET Core runtime, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Let's see. Interop .NET Core. .NET Core. Yep, that's what I thought. So here's one from 2020. Let's do for the last year. It looks like this person did get the same thing. Okay, maybe this will work. Okay, so it looks like we may be able to use this Microsoft Excel 16.0 object library. So let's get rid of that NuGet package. And let's look for this right here. Let's look for this here. See if it's something that's out here for NuGet. Nope. Okay. Is an extension. Okay, let's right click the project. Go to add references. Is that a, which kind of reference is it? Let's see, add, cancel. Right click the project, add reference. Not a service reference. And let's look under here for Microsoft Excel. Yeah. There it is right there. Say okay. And that's going to give me a reference over here, I believe. I don't see where that went to. I'm a little sus. Oh, there it is. Let's see if it's in here somewhere. Maybe not. So Visual Basic, Win32. I'm a little sus that it's in there. Those are NuGet packages. It would be in here. So I'm gonna assume that it's over there. Okay. Then it says, then the reference to appears under the project dependencies under com. Show all files. I don't see it over there. Let me try rebuilding the solution here. Yep. Add com reference. Let's try it again. I probably did it in the wrong spot. That's probably what happened. A, B, C, D, E, D, E, Excel. Where'd you go? Right there. Oh, I know. I didn't click the little, I don't think I clicked the little. Okay, so now I say okay. Yep. It's definitely doing something different now. Okay. There we go. There we go. That's better. I just didn't click the little box there. All right. So then it says click interop and then set both. Then reference there. Click interop, Microsoft Office, and then set both to copy local. Both to copy local. Alias is copy local to yes, and embed to yes. Okay, let's rebuild this one more time. Let's see if this even works. I don't know if you have to have Excel installed on your machine to do this or not. I'm gonna assume so. That's usually how it was in the past, but let's see if we can't use a reference to this here. Now let's say using, let's clean this up too a little bit here. Clean you up, clean you up, clean you up, clean you up for now. Using extensions, interop, Excel. There we go. All right, so let's go back to that Excel interop stuff here. And let's see if we can, let's see if we can do some stuff here. Let's clear this. And then we need to do it this way using Excel. I don't know if that'll do it. Yeah, okay. And then let's do kind of what we were doing here. we've got a list of stuff that we already have in our logic right here. So we basically have all the information here. What we need to do is take this information and stick it into an Excel spreadsheet, right? So let's make sure that we can do this here. So let's do what they're asking us to do here. And we're going to create a method called display in Excel. And we're going to have this IEnumerable accounts back, which we have here, right? So let's come down here and let's create a new method. And actually, to do a little cleanup here, let's come down here and do this. This is just kind of organizing our code a little bit better. Okay, so we can hide that code here. Okay, so now let's come down here and create a method we're going to pass in our I ordered enumerable of our query model. No, I should have did that. That's why that was in there. There we go. Now we're going to say, do what they're doing here, right? We're just going to follow this logic here. Say var Excel app equals new Excel application, and we're gonna make that app visible. So I'm not sure what this is. So this is different here. Let's see what we got going on here. Get, those gets, set. Visible. And it's asking for some kind of an RHS. I'll just call it true. RHS. What's RHS stand for? Go to definition. Let's see what it tells me here. What's bool RHS? Okay. Whatever. Okay. And then we're going to create a new worksheet. So I'm just going to copy that because I don't feel like typing all that out. And let's see what happens here. I knew I was going to get an error there. All right. Excel app. Active sheet. Let's see where all the sheets are at here. Worksheet. Let's just get active sheet dynamic. I don't think that's right. Something tells me that ain't right, but That's an Excel application. And this is a worksheet here. Excel application, so application active sheet. Well, let's do some looking here. Something tells me that's not right, but just keep going here actually. And actually, let's just, what we can probably do is up here, let's call our let's do it this way, and let's just step through the code here. F5 and then F11 into the code. Yep, that's what I thought. This operation failed because type E element not found. All right. So it's going to be difficult, isn't it? Embed interrupt types. Oh. Well, I guess that's the reason why that you really can't use interrupt in .NET Core. That's the solution that I just used. So let's do it this way. C#.NET Excel. And let's get something from the last year since they've been doing it. And if it tells me that I have to use the .NET framework, it's not going to work. So this guy's using a different library called Excel Manager. So I guess we could always use that instead of trying to use the Microsoft one here, because it's just really a shocker that Microsoft would come out with .NET Core. If I'm looking at that right, and they would do what they did here. So let's just remove this there. Let's just rebuild our solution to make sure we didn't blow anything up. Let's see, read Excel, Bright. And so this is using a different library too, Gymbox. This says that you can do it with the Microsoft one. Yeah, I don't know if that's right though. Well, let's try it. Let's try it and see. This guy seems to think he knows what he's doing here, so Studio. Yeah, that doesn't, I don't know if that's going to work or not. See, I don't know if they're using .NET Core though. My guess is they're not using .NET Core. Let's see if there's any comments to this down below there. I bet you he's not using .NET Core. Let's see, .NET Core. Yeah, so a lot of people use different libraries for this. Some people have created, you know, new libraries to handle this. This guy seems to have, you know, created a new library for called Swift Excel. Let's see if there's another one here. This is another answered thing here. That's not really an answer to that question here, but that's reading in Excel. That's not open source. They say epplus.core. Let's try that one. Copy that. Google that one. It's actually NuGet too. Does not supply support for this. So let's look for EP Plus in our NuGet packages here. Let's see. Let's see if it's out there and if it costs anything. EP Plus. There it is. What do you know? It's a spreadsheet library for .NET and .NET Core. Looks like it is up to date, so it should work for this particular version that I am using. So let's just throw it in there and see what happens. Say okay. Okay, accept. Alright, and then it says there's a license here, which is a commercial license. It's free to use, but in some cases a commercial license is used. Okay, so you can purchase a license. To a commercial business. With the license change, okay, so if you're a commercial business license, blah, 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 and then non-commercial, so all we got to do is this right here, copy that. Let's go back to our dummy class. Let's see if this works. And then I can just, there. And does not exist. License context equals that. License context does not exist. Okay, well, let's see. The parameter must be set. Via code. I guess I could do it in the JSON there. Yeah, let's put it. Now that's for commercial licenses. Oh, I guess I could use it for non-commercial though. So let me do this. Let me copy that. to my app settings.json file, paste that in there, and say go back to the README, and it should see non-commercial, maybe. Save that. Okay, 1 via code, 2 via app settings.json there. I'm a little annoyed that that didn't work that way. Let's do it this way. Excel package equals. Let's do it this way. Okay, so then come down here. Oh. And then come down to initialize pack commercial equals new Excel package. Pack dot, what was that called? It's called license context. Uh-oh. License. See if I can do it this way. Excel package. EXCEL equals var equals new Excel package. Let's see, it's not letting me do it that way. Let's see if I can do it that way then. Let's see, go back here. Instead of doing this, do this. Okay. Instead of doing it that way, so package license context, because it's probably a static class. Go to definition, go to base. Let's see what's in the base. Now, license context. Oh, it's, I see what's going on there. Okay. So it's an enumerator. So the enumerator can be null, and then there should be an enum somewhere else here with the values in it somewhere. Yeah, let's see if that works then. Because I really don't want to have to yeah, I'm gonna have to do it that way, aren't I? Let's go back and look at this thing here. We're back actually at the README. Okay, so what we can do is we can also in our dummy class, in our initialize here, where we're getting our Excel stuff here, We can bring back a different connection string as well. How do I want to do that though? Well, I guess what I could do is instead of making connection string, a string, I can make it a dictionary value. So I can do this. I can say public string strings. It's actually not a string. It's a dictionary of int or byte and string constrings, something like this. Do get set, and then in the here, and say, actually not that way. I'll do it this way. That's probably a better way to do it. And then instead of handling my con string, because I've got more than one I'm going to be using here, because it's over in here. Yeah, I can do it that way, because if I go back to that dummy class, commercial. No, I'll just leave it like that. Let me take it out of here. I don't like that. That's too much hassle with the connection string stuff there. I'm gonna use that just for connecting. Okay. Leave it that way. Okay. Now, I'll just make a note. All right, so now what we'll do is we'll come over here and see if that works this time. Okay, so it's now commercial. All right. What I'll probably do is I'll move this down to my display in Excel right here. That's probably better. And then go back over to the example and do this. Oop. Close the NuGet package now, and then right there. And we need to have system.io namespace included. And I'm gonna put C. Actually here. C. C. Let's just grab a location here. Let's see. C. Kind of looking for a location here. There we go. I'll put it on my OneDrive here. Documents. I'll put it here. that. And then let's go over to the usage of the library. So to do that, what you do is you come over to those libraries, and they should have in here somewhere how you use the library. And I'm guessing it's going to be very similar to, here we go, getting started. We've got the package already. Yep, using Office XML. We've got a new Excel package. And then we're going to have a worksheet. So this is the form that we're using right there. And then we're going to say our package right there. And then we're going to have a worksheet there. Let's call it sheet 1 equals package work book worksheets, and we're going to call it sheet 1. Okay. Then we're going to set the cell value using the row and column. And we're going to say sheet 1 cells. And we're going to use set A1 1, comma 1 value equals some sheet here. I say this some sheet here. And then we'll do the same thing there. Sheet 1 dot cells 1 comma 1 dot style bold font, actually font bold. Is that a true value? Yep, equals true. And then package, let's save, and then close the worksheet. And then down here in our disposable, we're gonna have to dispose of it eventually too, because we'll say if they use that equals no. Yeah, we'll do that another time. But let's see what happens when we run this. Let's put a breakpoint there. You can also view all your breakpoints. There's another window here. Where's your breakpoints? Breakpoints. And there's a window in here where you can view all of your breakpoints and turn them on and off. And so we'll do that another time. The wife's calling, so I've got to put you on hold, y'all. So bear with me. Okay. So what we're gonna do real quick, because I've got to close up this live stream because I've got a date. We'll go out and we'll run our code. F5. And let's see if this actually works or not. F11, F10, F10, F10. So I'm looking over here to see if there is a worksheet under documents. F10, oop, F10, F10. Uh-oh. Doesn't like that. So let's go back to our example and make sure we didn't mess something up here. Worksheet. Ah, there we go. Okay, so let's stop this. I've got to do this quickly. So I need to go to workbook worksheets.add. And we'll say var ws equals p worksheets. This is .add. So let's copy this line here. .add. And take that off of there. And then there's our cells. Save as. And we're going to have our file info in there. Let's just do a save and see what happens. Worksheet, my sheet. Let's comment this out. Sheet 1 cells. Let's see if this works again here. Let's see. F5, F10, 10, F10, F10, and F5. And over here, we have a workbook, and it should contain this some sheet here in bold. So I'm opening up Excel, and there it is. So in the next video, because I got a date, what we're going to do is we're going to take all of this data that we're grabbing back from our web page, our SQL server, and we're going to put it into an Excel spreadsheet. So that's what we'll do in the next one. Like, share, subscribe. I got to go throw my shoes on because I'm getting ready to go have brunch with the wife. So until next time, love you all. Peace. And hopefully this finds you well. And again, like, share, subscribe to this channel. Like, share, subscribe to my other channel, which is me cooking. It's the Squirrel's Delight channel. And then finally, Code Black on Facebook and on Slack. Go check them out. Peace.